Hi everyone, Matt Burney or Mike Beer taking a look at one of the two graded stakes races from Belmont Park Saturday afternoon. Race number 3 going a mile on the Widener turf course. It's the Noble Damsel for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Let's take a look at this field. It's a short field, Mike. You and I talked about it a little bit before we came in here though. To me, it might be the most interesting race of the weekend.
Yeah, I happen to agree with you on that. There are obviously some bigger races with some bigger fields around the country, but I was totally taken by this race after I started going through it. If for only no other reason other than there were so many different horses you could make cases for, and a couple of horses who I think are very good that you have to at least be a little concerned about whether you're going to get their best race or not, whether they can come up with their best race or not anymore.
I'd like to start with the Timeform US pace projector because I think that's a major part of this entire race. The pace projector has sassy little Lila going to the front. I'm not going to be surprised at all if she does. Her most recent start was over that bog in the 4-star Dave against Boys. I don't want to hold that race against her. But there is a part of me that looks at it and says, outside of that, I know she had that nice run in the Just a Game.
Yeah.
And we have to talk about Celestine as far as the Just a Game is concerned.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody did any running that day.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Not only that, but that was just one of those, and I know that she got to the front in that race, but she got the front in that race only because they basically conceded it to her. I mean, Celestine actually beat her to the front in that race, but for some reason they decided they didn't want the lead with her, and they let sassy little Lila have it. To me, she did her very best with the lead in that race, and it just wasn't quite good enough. And, Antono came with that eye-catching run and just sort of ran her over in the stretch. I thought she ran fine. Listen, you can go back, a couple starts prior to that. She missed a nose in another grade 1 out in Southern California. Yep. She obviously has ability, and maybe the pitch pitcher's right. Maybe she goes right to the front and she makes herself tough in here. I got to be honest, Matt, I have a tough time loving her in this race. I know that she can win. I just have a tough time loving her here.
I agree with you 100%, not just because of the Just a Game, but I kind of look at that most recent start, and I feel like people are going to be too forgiving. They say, the bog, she didn't like it, she didn't appreciate it, and World Approval came back to air in the Woodbine Mile. But if you draw a line through that and you go through the Just a Game, you're left with that non-winners of 2. Okay, she's supposed to win that race.
Yeah.
And I know that she had that big run in the American Oaks last year, but it just, what's she done against really top-class horses?
Yeah, I think what you're trying to get at, and what I agree with is, where's her race against the top horses that suggest she can go with these? And listen, maybe it is the Just a Game. Maybe we're being too hard on her for the Just a Game, but I think we share an opinion about that race, that it just wasn't that good. And she, in a lot of ways, had all the best of it there, still didn't win.
One of the biggest, if not the biggest, no-show in the Just a Game was Celestine, drawn on the inside. Now, she has races on her page that simply put, if she runs her best race, she's going to win this race. The question I have for you is, can she run anymore?
I don't know. That's one of the things that makes this race so fascinating. I agree with you. If she can come back and run her best race in this race, then to me, I just don't have any doubt about it. She will win this race. She's better than these horses. I just don't know. She was so disappointing in the Just a Game that it's hard for me to just put my faith right back into her, because she just didn't do any running at all in that race. It's been 105 days since then. She got a layoff after that race, which sort of makes me anyway want to think, I guess something just went wrong with her. She didn't look sharp in that race, and then she came out of it and just was unsighted until, I don't think she even got back on the work tab till the end of July. So she missed a lot of time after that race. So maybe something happened. If that's the case, and she comes back 100% on Saturday, she's going to win.
Her best race is simply put better than anything else anyone in this field is capable of doing. Number 3 is Malibu Stacy. It seems like she had a rebirth most recently that was on turf for the second time in her life. You look at the pedigree, there's a lot of turf in there.
Yeah.
I personally think she had a lot of things go her way. I know she went fast as far as the fractions, the way it looks.
Yeah.
Boy, that's kind of where you wanted to be, though, on the inner turf that day.
Yeah, it's just
dominated. The whole meet, I should say.
For most of the meet, especially towards the end of it, and that was, of course, at the end of it. And she she ran well last time. I'm not taking anything away from her. She had all the best of it in there, right on the lead. And, you start going through this field. I mean, how is she making a lead in this race? She's really not, unless they just send her. And if they send her, I mean, how's she going to win that way?
Chad from the outside has Off Limits. Now, Off Limits may be a horse, when we saw the pace projector, would appreciate them kind of hitting a little bit early on up front. The biggest knock against her has been throughout her North American career that she doesn't like to completely get the job done. She'll get there, she'll tease you, she won't finish.
Yes.
She's finished a couple times this year. I guess the question now is she as good as some of the best ones?
Yeah, I guess that's what we have to find out here, if nothing else. And listen, her record, you're kind of right, is more of that, close but no cigar kind of thing. I feel like that she's probably better than that. I think there are legit excuses to be had for a lot of her races last year. She's come back very good this year. I think she's actually come back improved this year. I like all 3 of her races since they brought her back. Is she as good as these horses? I don't think that she necessarily is. if these horses are what they used to be, and they may not be. So I think there's a real chance Chad has just timed it right here. He's catching these horses at the perfect time, and she's going to pick up a graded stakes win. But I almost feel like that has to be the case. Celestine can't run anymore. Time and Motion, who I guess we're going to get to in a minute here, can't run anymore. This is the time for her.
The horse to me that is the perfect example of, on paper, she looks like she still fits, but when you watch her races, she doesn't fit anymore, is Time and Motion. Now, if Time and Motion can dial up one of those races from last year in a 3-year-old campaign, I think she has a giant chance. The problem is, as a 4-year-old, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. Yeah. I mean, I after her QE2 last year, I just felt like, there's just no telling what she's going to be as a 4-year-old. And she's run 4 or 5 times since that QE2, 4 times, I guess. I mean, she hasn't run well in any of them, and I don't like any of her races this year. I know the figures say she can still run. I do not like her recent races. Celestine goes, Sassy Little Lila goes, maybe even Malibu Stacy goes. She gets a big pace. She comes running at the end. Maybe it happens. I'm not so sure. I wouldn't rather have Chad's horse in that scenario, the way that this horse has been running.
It's a really interesting race. There's only 5 horses. Let's take a look and see who we decided to land on in this spot, the Noble Damsel. You're going to go to Celestine, where, simply put, the best horse, if she runs her race, she wins.
Just going to give her one more chance. I hate her last race. I'm giving her one more chance. I think if she can run, she's too good for these horses.
I'm hopeful that off limits, she's kind of put it all together, and that they do hit up front, and she can come with some sort of run, particularly at Belmont. I like to think that kind of 1.5 turn, if you will, is a little bit better for her than 2 complete turns. 5-1 for me in the Noble Damsel at Belmont Park. If you're playing at home, check out DRF Bets on Saturday afternoon. Got all sorts of good deals for you, but particularly a $300 sign-up bonus for new members. DRF.com/fall is the address. The promo code is fall300. Race number 3, Belmont Park, Saturday afternoon. The Noble Damsel scheduled post time is 2:32. Best of luck.